Coming up, Tzu Chi launches its second-generation mobile kitchen to serve hot meals at the crash site of Flight GE235. Tzu Chi volunteers host a New Year's banquet for their care recipients at the Hualien Jing Si Abode. Welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Anita Lee. It's good to have you with us. We start the show in Taiwan. The Tzu Chi volunteers' love and care following the TransAsia Airways crash more than a week ago has inspired residents from both far and near to also give a little of their love. Let's take a look.
For the past 8 days, volunteers have been providing hot meals for those working at the crash site of TransAsia Airways Flight 235. Moved by such selfless efforts, one local food manufacturer invited the volunteers to come and take any food they needed.
We're not doing that much. This society needs as much love as possible.
For the past week, volunteers from the Neihu, Nangang, and Xizi liaison offices have been busy making hot meals. Joining them in their efforts have also been volunteers from abroad.
I had just come back from the US and heard the news. Fortunately, I had an opportunity to help, and in doing so, my heart has been much more at peace.
Well, after reading about the tragedy in the news, this visitor from South Africa asked to be able to bring flowers and his prayers to the crash site. Before he left, he also made it a point to extend his love to others in need.
谢谢你的爱心，我们会将你的这个爱心呢发挥到极点。好，谢谢，感恩你，谢谢，谢谢。
While caring for those working in and around the crash site, volunteers also make sure to protect the environment by using recyclable cups and utensils.
We first use an environmentally friendly enzyme wash and then rinse them twice. Then we boil them to sterilize. In total, it's 4 steps.
The enzymes we made ourselves, we mix brown sugar, vegetable skins, and fruit peels and water, and then let the whole thing ferment for about 3 months to get the enzyme. We can use it to sterilize or clean.
Fortunately for the volunteers on site, Xindian volunteers brought over a whole truck full of new enzymes, so that volunteers can continue with their cleaning uninterrupted.
On the ground since day one of the TransAsia Airways crash, Tzu Chi volunteers have been preparing more than 1,000 hot meals a day for rescue personnel and those working in and around the crash site. Over the past week, the meals were prepared at various Tzu Chi liaison offices and then brought to the crash site. However, from February 11th, volunteers began operating from the Tzu Chi mobile kitchen to provide hot meals on site. Taking the mobile kitchen through a battery of tests, volunteers look to ensure it will be ready for its debut on the 11th.
In this pot, we will be making soup, and in this pot, we are heating up water that will be used to make the instant rice. The mobile kitchen is perfect. It simply has everything.
With this mobile kitchen, we hope to be able to cook all the meals on site and thus ensure that rescue personnel and family members have piping hot meals to eat.
This mobile kitchen is actually a second-generation model and comes complete with a rice cooker, a stir-fry wok, pots and a stove for soup, a steamer, counters for cutting and a fridge. If gas is not available, the kitchen can also work on wood-burning stoves.
For longer disaster relief or when facing an earthquake or typhoon, once residents have found a safe place to take shelter, this mobile kitchen will then be used.
The second-generation model differs from the first generation in that it is equipped with solar panels and the cooking area can be used individually. Altogether, in 3 hours, 900 meals of 3 vegetable dishes and a soup can be made.
Because it is modular, you can unpack it to fit a variety of environment and spaces. After it is set up, meals can be made in no time at all. And after we're done, the whole thing folds up really easily, almost like a matchbox.
During this unfortunate time, we have been able to test out the usefulness of this mobile kitchen and how many meals it can make. It has been a good learning experience.
The second-generation mobile kitchen was used for the first time on February 11th to bring hot meals to close to 1,000 people. In the future, volunteers will continue to refine the van to make it even more useful. In the aftermath of the December floods, flood victim Silveraju and his wife witnessed firsthand how Tzu Chi volunteers were the first to arrive and have been helping the community tirelessly since day one. Such kindness and compassion has further inspired the couple to also reach out to those in need. The first to arrive following the floods, Tzu Chi volunteers' selfless gestures have been deeply etched in Silveraju's heart.
Tzu Chi volunteers came to the disaster site. No matter how filthy or muddy the surroundings were, everyone assisted with the cleanup, as if it were their own homes.
This kindness further inspired Silveraju to reciprocate through recycling.
No matter where I am, whenever I see empty bottles, I think of Tzu Chi volunteers. I will collect the bottles and take them to the recycling station, because when sold, they can help many people.
Silveraju's wife Suraja, who became a Tzu Chi donating member 2 years ago, witnessed the power of compassion during this flood.
Before, when we made monthly contributions, we didn't give it too much thought, except that we wanted to help people. But now that we are receiving Tzu Chi's help, we realize just how meaningful all these contributions were. In helping others, the biggest benefactors are ourselves.
Although the couple has yet to rebuild, Saroja does not want to miss out on the opportunity to help others.
I have poor vision and my feet are in pain, so I can't walk fast. Although I suffer from many illnesses like diabetes, high blood pressure, and high cholesterol, that hasn't stopped me from helping others. When volunteers contact me, as long as I have the time, I will help out, because it was the Tzu Chi volunteers who helped us clean our community.
On the day of the cash card distribution, Saroja also brought a bamboo bank to donate. Giving and reciprocating, both Saroja and Silveraju are ensuring this force of goodness spreads to all corners. Last April in Nanning of China's Guangxi, a home in a simple farming community was intentionally set on fire. The couple living inside, Mr. and Mrs. Wei, suffered burns to over 80% of their bodies. Tzu Chi volunteers in the area quickly tended to the couple and recently decided to renovate their home so the couple can enjoy the Chinese New Year without being haunted by the horrible accident.
The evidence of an arson remains in this home in Nanning, with the couple living here suffering burns to over 80% of their bodies. Since the crime last April, Tzu Chi volunteers have been visiting this family monthly, and before the arrival of Chinese New Year, volunteers decided to repair the home.
Seeing others do this looks so easy, but when it's my turn to paint, in less than 5 minutes, both my arms and waist are aching already. As the new year is just around the corner, we hope that by restoring their home, they can better enjoy the holidays.
Thanks to the couple's optimism, they have recovered quickly.
It seemed like a scar had formed over their wounds. Patches of their skin were actually rotting. I felt really sorry for them. We all wondered how could both of them endure and survive such horrible burns. Seeing that they are well once more, I'm really happy for them.
The timid couple smiles at the camera to convey their gratitude. They have not let the malice change them, while their neighbors have been touched by Tzu Chi's kindness.
好人一生平安。
Treating sleeplessness means more than simply prescribing sleeping pills. First and foremost, it is necessary to find out what is causing the symptom, which can be difficult as there are many reasons why a person cannot sleep. Thus, more and more major hospitals in Taiwan have developed sleep centers that conduct sleep studies to help properly diagnose their patients. We now learn more about the practice and those behind it.
是一个中医的安神的
好睡的药。
Suffering insomnia, Miss Yen just wants a good night's rest.
Whenever I get stressed out, I would just stay up all night, unable to sleep.
Having tried both Chinese and Western medicine to no avail, Miss Yen decided to undergo a thorough examination at the Sleep Medicine Center of Taichung Tzu Chi Hospital.
好，来，我们这边请。来，吸一下袋子。这是腹带。
This will monitor her breathing around her abdomen.
晚上呼吸的时候顺不顺畅？
This is to monitor her brainwave patterns.
All sorts of monitoring devices are attached to Miss Yen for a thorough reading.
If by doing this we can find out what's causing my sleeplessness, I'm more than glad to cooperate. I'm trying to relax and fall asleep now.
Besides monitoring the brain, we will also observe the patient's breathing, heart rate, and carbon dioxide concentration in the blood. We're also performing surface electromyography on her limbs.
我们现在眼睛张开，看下、上、下、上。
A sleep technologist, Guangxi will be monitoring the reading all night long to search for an answer. Thanks to her, 85-year-old Grandpa Li, who had no prior heart disease history, was properly diagnosed.
它有一个潮
He
湿
showed
的
a Chiang strokes respiration on his breathing reading output. This type of pattern typically means that the patient has a heart condition.
As it turned out, Grandpa Li was unable to sleep due to his heart condition, which was resolved after he received proper treatment.
The feedback from the machines is lifeless. What's important is how you decipher it.
新娟，我们来看一下昨天那个小朋友的脑波报告，好不好？
In Taiwan, 80% of sleep studies are conducted at night. After a patient is sound asleep, a sleep technologist's work has only just begun.
再来没有了。
完全不能偷偷打瞌睡。
You can't doze off, but need to fully concentrate on the monitors in front of you. A technologist has to collaborate with a doctor to make good use out of the data that was collected from the sleep studies.
Huang has been at her post for 13 years. Due to the nature of her job, she missed growing up together with her children.
Often I have to work overtime, so I don't really get to see much of my children. I do have some separation anxiety because of this. I often check the clock and wonder what they are doing.
Being a sleep technologist is physically and mentally demanding. Just what prompted Huang to choose a job like this. Huang's first name, Xing, means medicine in Chinese, and it carries the expectations of her grandfather. A polio sufferer, Huang's grandpa hoped that she would work in the field of medicine to help alleviate the suffering of the sick.
Seeing a patient that was formerly very ill who couldn't get a proper diagnosis after numerous visits say hi to me in good health and spirits because of me, that sense of accomplishment can sustain me for a long, long time.
We spend 1/3 of our lifetime sleeping. In this fast-paced world, getting a good night's rest seems more and more difficult. But thanks to the likes of Huang Xingjun, people now know where to turn to if they have trouble sleeping. With less than a week till the Chinese New Year, Tzu Chi volunteers across Taiwan have been hosting banquets to celebrate the holiday with their care recipients. In Penghu, 30 care recipient families were invited to attend the event at the Jing Si Hall. Volunteers began preparations early morning as they hope to express their love and well wishes through food. But first, let's join the New Year's banquet over at the Jing Si Abode in Hualien. Plate after plate of carefully crafted vegetarian dishes are making their way out of the kitchen and onto the tables. At the Jing Si Abode in Hualien, Tzu Chi volunteers have invited care recipients and low-income families to a banquet to celebrate the Chinese New Year.
Tzu Chi volunteers invited their care recipients and low-income households to spend the new year with them. It's like celebrating with family. The atmosphere is very warm and festive.
When care recipient Ms. Wang's husband was diagnosed with cancer in 2002, she has had to take on numerous odd jobs to support her family. It has been Tzu Chi's support and assistance that has carried her over the last 13 years. Now she says she is ready to pay this love forward.
Tzu Chi has helped us in the past, and now that I have the means, I want to make monthly contributions to reciprocate.
Participants join in the chanting of the Medicine Buddha Sutra, praying for peace and harmony in the new year. With the Lunar New Year less than a week away, Master Zheng Yan also reminded everyone to hold firm to their initial aspiration and take the Dharma to heart.
以佛心来面对一切众生，以菩萨心呢来护护一群需要咱帮助保护的人，咱总是呢爱用爱来付出。
To cook food for some 30 tables is no easy task. Hence, kitchen volunteers started their preparations long before sunrise.
We invite our care recipients to celebrate with us every year. It's as if we are celebrating with our own family members.
This year, some 30 care recipient families were invited to celebrate the New Year at the Jing Si Hall. Team of volunteers were also on site to offer blood pressure measurements. Meanwhile, newly certified Tzu Chi volunteer Guangxi was providing free haircuts for participants, something that she has been doing for many years now.
Before, I would only step up and help when there was no one else to do it. But it's different now. I'm doing it of my own accord, and it's a different feeling. The more I do, the happier I am, and the more I understand Tzu Chi's ideals.
Meanwhile, a New Shoot Scholarship recipient joins other children in a sign language performance on stage.
有时候会带饼干、饮料一起跟我们分享。那你喜欢食物区吗？喜欢。
Everyone's kind-hearted donations further added warmth to the event. Families of the victims of the Penghu plane crash were also present at the banquet.
对啊，天天都带着，很感恩啊！第一时间就到达了。
Participants will carry the love and blessings of volunteers with them into the new year. In our next report, we follow the news crew of DaAi TV Indonesia to gain a better understanding of Jakarta's flood problems and why environmental protection is an urgent step that the country needs to take.
With streets flooded knee-high, many residents can only walk their motorcycles, while in slums, residents make their way through chest-high flooding. The heavy rains caused by the yearly monsoon season affects the lives of tens of thousands of citizens in Jakarta.
This area is always flooded whenever it rains and makes it difficult for us to go to school or go home.
According to government officials, the trash thrown away by residents living in illegal buildings along the river is one of the major reasons behind the flooding.
We often discover garbage and pieces of furniture when we try to clean up the floodgate. Members of the public don't realize the importance of environmental protection. The flood prevention system launched by the government is no use if the public doesn't change their bad habits.
The ever-growing number of illegal housing and overdevelopment has affected the city's soil absorption rate and rainwater discharge pathways.
Currently, the soil absorption rate in Jakarta is about 20%, which means 80% of the rainwater moves towards the ditches. The city will be flooded if the ditches cannot handle the volume of rainwater.
A report by the Indonesian Meteorological Bureau clearly shows that the severity of flooding in Jakarta has increased dramatically since 1997. Furthermore, the Bureau predicts that 35 towns around the city will be affected this year. Besides installing new water piping systems and cleaning up garbage accumulated in the river, the most important step is to educate the public on the urgency of protecting the planet.
With winter vacation here, close to 200 students took the opportunity to attend a Tzu Chi-hosted camp. As part of the camp, students from Hualien, Jiangxi and Tainan gathered at Darling Tzu Chi Hospital, where they would spend the day bringing holiday cheer on behalf of the hospital's residents. Let's now join them there.
Here today at the Darling Tzu Chi Hospital are 190 youth volunteers from Hualien, Jiangxi and Tainan. Before starting their volunteer runs, the students first listen to Tzu Chi volunteers, who explain how to best care for the patients they are about to see.
Our midterm exams are over and classes are at an end, so I felt that I shouldn't waste this time, but instead should do something with meaning, so I decided to come volunteer.
Youth volunteers spend time with patients, listening to their stories with not only their ears, but also their hearts. Knowing this patient needs to lay down to sleep, the volunteers quickly put on a fresh bed sheet.
Just now, spending time with the patients, I realized that it is very important to be able to put yourself in their shoes. Also, when speaking with them, we need to lower our voice so as to not to irritate them.
In addition to caring for the sick, the youth volunteers also break into groups to make peace charms in honor of the fast approaching Chinese New Year, and in hopes that every patient here can be home in time for the holidays.
In Taichung, Taiwan, Tzu Chi volunteer Lu Qingying has been taking notes while watching the Wisdom at Dawn broadcast every morning for the last 5 years. Often reviewing her notes and striving to actualize the Dharma in her daily life, Lu has inspired her son-in-law, who is an attorney, to join in on the morning Dharma sessions.
Every morning, Tzu Chi volunteer Lu Qingying and her son-in-law go to Jing Si Hall to watch the Wisdom at Dawn broadcast. Watching and taking note attentively, Lu Qingying has accumulated 5 notebooks filled with the Master's teaching over the last 5 years.
I have been watching the Wisdom at Dawn broadcast every morning since 2010. After listening to the Master's morning lecture, I will review my notes again in the evening.
Lu's notes are neatly written and well organized. She also highlights the important sections in various color and updates her notes from time to time.
These were the notes I took on November 3rd and 4th of 2010, and on April 2nd, 2013, I added to these notes.
Seizing the opportunity to review and add to her notes whenever possible, Lu's tireless spirit has inspired her son-in-law, Zhu Chonglong, who is an attorney, to follow suit.
I feel that Master's teaching gives me a different outlook, so I often apply her teachings when I'm dealing with my cases.
For Lu Qingying, the Lotus Sutra is the essence of Jingsi Dharma lineage. Thus, as a disciple of the Master, Lu works hard to apply these teachings in her daily life.
As the Master's disciples, if we don't understand the Master's teachings, how are we to continue carrying out Tzu Chi's missions and walking the Tzu Chi path? This is something we should commit ourselves to as the Master's disciple.
By taking notes, volunteers remember the essence of Dharma. Only through diligent cultivation can one walk firmly on the Bodhisattva path.
As the Chinese New Year is just around the corner, a group of DaAi mothers in Tainan visited seniors at a local nursing home, hoping to share the joys of the holiday season with others. Through their interaction with the seniors, many DaAi mothers came to realize that practicing good deeds and fulfilling their filial duties simply cannot wait. We leave you with these images at the end of today's program. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.